Hello everybody, welcome along to the Event Industry News podcast with me, James Dickson, wishing you all a very good morning, afternoon or evening, whenever or wherever you tune into us from. Just going to take this earpiece out because I don't need it while we're recording. You may notice that I'm in a slightly different setting today. Instead of being sat at home in front of my laptop at the upright piano in my living room, I'm in a beautiful Evolution Dome inflatable structure. Big thanks to Ash Austin and the guys at Evolution Dome for hosting us at Confex 2026 at XL London. We're in one of their lovely inflatable structures on the Evolution Dome exhibition stand at the show, and it's great. It's great to be able to sort of come out in person and set up a few microphones and sit with people and have a bit of a chat with the buzz of the sort of the show floor around us, which hopefully you may just pick up a little bit of that noise and the buzz from the show floor down the microphones as we're recording today. So welcome along to the podcast, and my guest today is a returning guest. It's somebody that we have met before, and it was one of those moments when my guest today walked into the podcast studio at Evolution Dome and went, "Oh, of course, yeah, we've met before, but we did it via the video link, and now we get a chance to meet in person." And it just so happens that I drive regularly right past where they're based. So this is what happens when you come and meet people in person. You suddenly realise that you may be a little bit more connected than you realise. So my guest today, and I'm going to make an attempt at this before they correct me, is Lefteris Angelidis.
Perfect. You got exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I'm
bang on.
I'm well happy with this. Lefteris is the creative director from Visual Architects. We've spoken before on the podcast, but we're not going to assume that I'm going to remember anything or our guests could think that far back, because I think it's probably a couple of years ago now.
It was probably, I'd say, 4 years ago. 4 years ago. It was before when we were in Hyde, because now we've moved to Denton.
Yeah.
And it was when we were in Hyde.
Excellent. Well, Lefteris, you take it away. Tell us a bit about yourself and what Visual Architects do.
So basically, as you said, I'm Lefteris Angelidis. You got the name right. And I'm the CEO and founder of Visual Architects and creative director. What Visual Architects is, it's a company that we specialize in set design and theming. It's a creative production house, but where we started from doing nightclubs and festivals, theming them, what we kind of say is that we transform any space into an experience. And that can be anything from a small event to a massive corporate event. And we've grown in the festival scene, but now we're doing a lot more events, like we do Google, Jet2, we do big staff parties, and we manufacture everything. And as we've grown, the company has broken down into 3 divisions. So we've got our event design, what we call, which is when we're theming with stock and products that we already have, and we can come and theme your event, and it's rental products really. We've got our interior design, which that is more the permanent installation. So when we do a restaurant, a bar, a nightclub, somebody wants a refurb, we'll do it with our interior design team. And then in between those 2 teams sits our manufacturing, which that has grown over the years. And we've got 7-axis robots, 3D printers, joinery, carpentry, electronics. So anything that we create that goes into event design or to interior design is from that manufacturing team. And now, as the years have gone past, that's also become its own entity. It's a creative production house that caters for any brand activation that wants something not for rental, for example. They might want to buy something and use it for their brands.
And how important is it, and I kind of know the answer to this question anyway, but I'm going to ask you as the expert, to have that integration and that synergy between the visual design and the architectural sort of layout and design of a space and the event production side of things, because often the 2 are dealt with separately, and that creates problems. The production people then come in and they say, well, it's okay all this scenery being here and it looks lovely, but we now need to run cables there and we need to do this and we need to put lighting in. And
absolutely,
is it important that you've got that synergy in-house?
It is, and the good thing with us is that before Visual Architects we were running a big indoor festival, we were running a club event as well. So we understood what was needed, and Visual Architects started off by building and designing sets for our own event. So we had to coordinate internally with the sound guys, with the light guys. So we knew how important that is. And then as Visual Architects grew, yes, we were still creating everything, but then when the interior design team was born, and that was born whilst we were in Dubai, we were doing a hotel there, and we were doing semi-permanent installations. And they asked us, oh, can you do a permanent installation for one of our restaurants? So that's where interior design was born, and then that's where we got a good understanding of floor plans, technical design, how everything's going to fit with all the cables. So interior design and event production, the background that we had in that, gave us a very good insight into that. And now with everybody, all these teams being in-house, it gives us that synergy, as you mentioned, to understand what is needed to put on a successful event and to not have the problems when you get to the show and it's like, oh, I didn't know you were here or I didn't know you were there. So that's what makes it really important.
And the technology nowadays, when it comes to event production, has developed to such an extent that it's very, very easy now to integrate elements together that 15, 20 years ago wouldn't have been possible. You used to have very specific departments, wouldn't you? You'd have the scenery or the set department, the set builders, the lighting, the TV, the projection, the audio side of things. Because of the development in things like LED technology and how you can be creative in almost building a structure with LED panels, with how easy lighting is to deploy now because it's smaller and neater and less power. You've got all these better creative options, haven't you, because of the technology?
Absolutely, and the good thing is the way the technology is advanced now, even from the simple thing of looking at, let's build a render. You know, so you build that render and you can show somebody exactly in 3D where your set's going to go, what you're going to be putting in. And that doesn't help just our team to install, but it helps, for example, as you said, the lighting team, the LED team, because all of a sudden, if everybody's working in the same render, they're seeing that, hang on, you can't put your decor there, we need to put our screen there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing of technology. By advancing so much, it's brought everybody together to know what we're talking about. And it's not just conversations or diagrams on a piece of paper. And to go a step further, because obviously we all know now how AI is advancing, that's also brought more into the equation, because that's brought sometimes more synergy with clients now, because now you're getting clients being able to give you a better brief because they've done a little bit of work on AI and they've put some things and say, oh, I want something like this. So you're not miles away, because words sometimes, when I say something to you in 5 sentences, you're going to understand it differently in your mind because you've got different concepts and different interpretations from how you've grown up and you've been born, you know. But with AI now, you can give something a little bit more, this is what I mean, here's what I want. So that brings synergy in that respect.
It's so important because we've all been there before where a client says, we want to do this event. Okay, how do you envisage it? How do you see it manifesting itself? And they say, well, we're not sure. We think we'd like some of this and we think we'd like some of that. And you took the AI question away from me because I was literally going to ask that. The way that people can now easily provide you with at least a basic visualization of their concept must surely be a huge leap forward to helping you realize that.
Massive. Because before, what would happen, as you just said, you know, you'd say, oh, we want something that's a bit like this, a bit like that. And before, there was no AI, so we'd have to go straight away into building in 3D. So when we interpreted your words and put them in 3D, when you look at them, you're like, oh, that's not what I mean, I need a bit like that. But the time that it would take to create something in 3D was a lot longer before. And if you get it wrong, then there's another week gone, and another week, and time could fly by. Whereas now, the client and the person that's got the idea is able to actually put it in, speak with AI and get it to a certain level that they feel, okay, now I can go and explain my concept. And it's easier for the other person to understand it, and that saves us time when they bring it like that. Or even if a client doesn't have the idea, it's a lot easier for us to throw back 3-4 different concepts in AI. So is this what you mean, or is this what you mean? And you can move the project faster.
And from a cost base point of view, when I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, the cost of doing a really high quality 3D render of a big event project to give your client that visual realization of what you're proposing, the computer costs alone, because of the processing power that you would need, the cost of having a technical operator who's competent enough to produce those designs in CAD or whatever you're using. The technology has evolved so much now that you don't need the processing power anymore, so you could probably do it, anybody can do it on their laptops that they're using every day.
You still do, you still need a strong computer, it depends how far you go, but the cost before and the time it would take somebody was a lot longer. And now it's easier. Computers are stronger by default nowadays, so you do have the stronger computers. You still, when you want to get to your final render, AI is not going to get you there. AI is going to get you to give you a concept. But when you need to try and get the sizes right, the exact locations, all the elements in, you still need to move into creating a render to show your client and to show the stakeholder. Because AI is going to give you the overall concept. but you still need the render. But as you said, nowadays it's easier. Computers are a lot stronger. Time is moving faster. So yeah, it is easier these days to do it.
How far has it evolved in reducing on-site, unexpected on-site problems?
That goes back to what I was mentioning before, is because when you've got the render and you're dealing, say, we're a set design company, so we're going to build props, we're going to build the set, we're going to do the stage, we're going to do the ceiling, the theming, the photo opportunities around the space. Then will come in a light company. Now they need to put their lights. So if we're doing, say, a big canopy or draping in the ceiling, they need to put their lights. So all of a sudden, if we both work from the same platform, we're going to see that, oh, hang on, you've got your lights there, so we need to work around with our canopy and our draping. The staging, in will come the LED company. They need to put their screens in, but we need to also put the props and the stage design. So then once we're all working from the same space, it helps everyone see that we're not going to get there on the day and you're going to be in my way, I'm going to be in your way. And then that also helps with the production schedule, because when we know that you're going to come and you're going to put this box here, someone's going to put the TV there, we can make a schedule that, okay, I'm going to put this on top of this box. So you come in first and I'll come in second. So technology is helping in that respect as well to create a more solid and coherent production schedule.
Which ultimately as well contributes to reduce cost. Maybe not massively, but if your production schedule is better, if it runs to time, you're less likely to incur out-of-hours charges for things like crew, for people being on site when they don't need to be, venue costs, working overnight in venues and things like that. All of this contributes to more efficient events, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It does reduce costs, but what it reduces even more, which I think is more important, the stress. The stress of the team and the stress of the client, because a client doesn't want to see their people fight until the last minute when the doors are meant to open. So once you've got that solid plan, it makes everybody's life easier. Crew, clients, stakeholders, venues, it's a lot smoother.
Do you mind if we talk a little bit just about Manchester, because that's where you guys are based, up in Denton? Just if anybody doesn't know Manchester very well, Denton is just sort of on the eastern edge of the sort of the city of Manchester, and in Greater Manchester. It's a fantastic event city. And one thing that Manchester's got loads of is loads of these old warehouse spaces because of its history, because of its industrial heritage. There's still loads of great spaces there. I know that you'll work all over the UK and all over Europe doing what you do, but what's it like to be based in that particular city, and do you do a lot of work there?
Manchester is great. We've been there for years. We were in Stockport, then we moved to Hyde. That's where, when we spoke last time, we were in Hyde, and that's where we had the fire, and that's why we had to move to Denton. But Manchester's got this heritage, this culture, that when you look back from the days of Sankey's, Rockworld, it used to have all these events, and we've worked in all these spaces over the years, and it's developed a lot. I have to say it's lost a lot of those spaces when you walk into the northern quarter, when it was Sankey's and it was just on its own at the back and there was just warehouses. Now it's all bars and everything.
It's all developed
It's all developed massively. So Manchester has changed quite a lot over the years. We still work in Manchester. We work all over the UK, really.
Yeah. And if you'd have done an event in Ancoats, 15, 20 years ago, and now you go into Ancoats and it's all nice bars, cafes, outdoor plazas. This can't be Ancoats.
This can't be Ancoats at all. It's developed so much. Because I remember we did a show in Sankey's. We did a few shows basically as visual architects, but we did one as the club event that we had at the time. And I remember walking down those streets and it's dead. And especially at night time, there would be nothing. You were just in the middle of nowhere. Where am I going to? An underground rave. But now you walk down that street, there's bars, there's everything there.
Yeah. Could I ask you about the sustainability aspect, if you don't mind? Because there's a huge drive and desire at the moment for things to be reusable, and working in the nature that you do with visual stuff is there a desire and a call from a lot of your clients now for stuff to maybe be reused, or is it still very much one-off events that you're working on?
Absolutely. At the moment, I think sustainability has become a massive thing in all events, and everybody that's wanting to put on an event, they ask how sustainable is the product. The massive advantage with us is because we started off as a rental company. We still are a rental company. A lot of the assets we already have. Yes, we manufacture and we sell now to clients, but we've got a massive stock of themes. We've got over 60 themes. We've got about 20 Christmas themes. We've got Halloween themes. And the advantage of that now, because we're seeing people want more sustainable events, they're coming to us, okay, what can you do for us that is not going to go to landfill? And when we utilize our existing themes, we can add some more elements, we can repaint them, we'll do the show, and then those elements are going to come back to our warehouse, and then they will be reused on another show. We've actually still got props from 10 years ago. We've never been them. We keep them. And sometimes when we're doing new events that the client might want something different, we will build it and we will keep it after, because we've got use for it.
Well, of course, because that's good business for you as well, isn't it? Because then you're building up your stock of what's available to the next client from a rental point of view. With every event that goes past, you're constantly evolving, I guess, and building new options. We're still only in February this year, but planning for events, happens years in advance, months in advance. So what's the diary looking like for you this year? What are you working on at the moment that excites you?
I wish it was years in advance. I feel the event industry is becoming more and more last minute all the time. It's like, we need something, we need it next week. But no, we are planning. Like at the moment, we're planning our Christmas shows, because at Christmas we do some very big shows. We do SEAT in Barcelona, we do Jet2's big Christmas parties. All of that's being planned now. Convene we do. Then there's Halloween as well, so we're planning for Halloween.
Of course, yeah.
So although on execution, we're looking at brand activations over the next few months, and then we're looking at festivals. We've got Boomtown, we've got Creamfields, that we're doing all the stages that we do there. So now we're on the execution level of festival scene, but we're on the planning of Christmas and Halloween. So you're always working about 9 months in advance with the clients that you've got and you do every year. But what happens at the same time, new clients will come in and people will come with briefs that they need them in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we keep on getting those on a daily basis.
So you're having to juggle the long-term projects and the stuff that is planned well in advance and you can see coming, as well as having that flexibility to react to, because you don't want to turn business away, do you? You want to be able to react.
Yeah. And the way we are, we're on a massive growth trajectory at the moment. So yes, we always want to be able to adhere to new clients and create new projects. Because every project that comes in, it's exciting. Everyone wants something different. And I feel the events industry is growing massively at the moment. We're seeing more and more, and I think over the next 2 years, it's going to grow even more. And generally, you're seeing, besides festivals, brand activations, Christmas, you're seeing more and more brands now wanting to put on events for their clients. Even blue chip companies at the moment, it's no longer just a simple event. It needs to be a wow factor. There needs to be something spectacular going on. And these projects are very interesting.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to go over to Spain in October last year to do a gig. I moonlight outside of my day job, still doing some live music. So occasionally I get a call to go with a band and do a gig somewhere. And we went and did a corporate gig out at the Port Aventura theme park near Salou in Spain. And some of the set design and the stuff that had been created for this corporate client was absolutely amazing. It had all come out from the UK. And there's still very much this thing that from a production point of view, UK-based businesses have got a really good reputation, haven't they? If you're based in the UK, and you're doing this, I don't know why it is and what the reasoning is behind it, but did you find that? Do you get a lot of call from European clients because you're based in the UK?
Yeah, we do. I think we're getting, because we work in the European market as well. We've worked in Ibiza a lot. We've worked in Dubai. People have seen our products, so we're getting people coming to us from all over. But I feel as well, on a different note, without us going down a different tangent now, the whole world at the moment is changing. Globalization is probably coming to an end, and we're going to see a lot more domestic markets enhancing. And that's going to happen in Europe, it's going to happen in the UK, where people in the past would try and get things from China, India. These markets, we're seeing a massive growth. They're becoming more expensive, we're seeing tariffs, and I think there's going to be a lot more demand to find products locally, and I think the UK market hopefully is going to grow. The European market at the moment is growing, and I think the UK needs to follow.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you're quite right. That's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But the same token, that does mean that potentially there's opportunity within the UK. If agencies, if corporates that may decide that they want to take a big management conference outside of the UK to a European destination, they might decide actually we're going to retain that in the UK. So you get UK businesses and agencies keeping their events in the UK, which then ultimately makes life a little bit easier for UK-based event businesses.
Yeah, and the thing is, UK agencies as well are doing, as you said, a lot of work in Europe. So they are putting on big events in Europe, and then they naturally choose a UK company to do the show for them. So they come to us because we have done shows, although we work for Spanish companies, let's say, there's also UK companies that do shows in Spain that book us. The same in Croatia as well. We've got a couple of shows in Croatia this summer, they're from UK companies. But at the same time, we are doing for a Croatian company as well.
Yeah, it's great when you get those opportunities. But I guess ultimately as well, from a logistical point of view, transport, moving things from A to B, doing stuff in the UK is much easier.
It's much easier, yeah. And that is one of the issues that, especially since Brexit, it's become a lot more difficult with carnets, all the tax, all the implications that have come with that. It's made it more expensive. And some clients that we used to have in the past, they just simply can't afford now to pay the transport. Because if you need to ship like 1 or 2 Arctics over, that's a massive cost. And that has had an impact on us, and that's one of the reasons now we do have a warehouse in Barcelona where we store stock, but it's never enough. You always need to ship from the UK. So that's why at the moment we're at a point in Visual Architects that we are looking to replicate what we have in the UK in Europe to be able to cater better for the European market. And that's something that we're looking at the moment as expanding.
Absolutely. I'm just waving at some people who are looking through the door of the lovely dome that we're in, because we've hijacked Ash's or Evolution Dome's structure. They're now showing potential clients. They're now showing potential. I'm giving thumbs up to potential clients here for Evolution Dome as we're doing this. It's been great to catch up with you today. What are you doing at the show today? Are you just meeting clients, meeting some of the people that you do business with? Are you exhibiting here?
We're actually exhibiting. We've got the Heaven and Hell stand. You know, it's quite big. I don't know if you've passed. It's got the massive devil. It's got the angels. It's a big stand.
I've only arrived this morning, so when we finish wrapping up these recordings, I'll come past.
You should definitely come and see it. It's a very good stand, and it's great here because at EPS it's all networking. You're seeing old people, you know, old clients, but you're always meeting new people. So it's a great expo to be at.
Absolutely. My guest today is Lefteris Angelidis. I hope I've got it right
you
again.
Got it right.
I feel like I say it slightly differently every time. Creative Director at Visual Architects. Talking all things visual architecture, really. If you want to find out more about the guys, where do they go? Instagram?
On our website, Visual Architects, LinkedIn, Visual Architects, Instagram, we're everywhere. We're on all platforms.
Yeah, we do. I know we usually give websites out, but it's not difficult for people to find companies nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
Go to wherever you go, search Visual Architects, and you'll find the guys there. And go and check them out, because it's fascinating, it's great, it's creative, it's all the things that excite people about working in the events industry. Thanks very much for popping in today and having a chat with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Just a very quick note before we wrap up today's podcast. If you watched today's podcast either on YouTube or on the Event Industry News website, thanks very much for doing so. Make sure you check out all the other areas of the Event Industry News website for the A to Z supplier directory, all the special features and supplements that are on the website. If you've listened to today's podcast via your audio podcast platform, please do make sure that you go over to the website after you've listened to today's podcast and do all the things that I've just mentioned. And a final shout out once again to Ash and the team at Evolution Dome for providing us with this lovely little space to record today's podcast from, live from Confex and the Event Production Show 2026 at XL London. Thanks very much for dropping in, everybody. Thanks again to my guest, Lefteris Angelidis, and we'll see you soon on the podcast. Cheers,
nice
guys.
One, guys. Thank you.